You can edit your 10-bit videos using the free version of DaVinci Resolve, which is exactly what this tutorial is going to be all about. So without further ado, let's go. So I want to show you my metadata. So if I go over here to the media tab and you make sure metadata is turned on, if I scroll down a bit, I'll just drag this up and you can see the bit depth, it's actually 10-bit. So how am I able to play
move on from there
10-bit videos using this? So how did I record 10-bit first of all? So I use the Blackmagic camera app and I set my output videos to HEVC, high efficiency video format, not H.264, but H.265 HEVC, and then you set the color mode to HDR10, right? So because we're using Rec 2020, that's our input color space. And if you do that using the Blackmagic camera app, automatically that's going to turn everything to HDR and you'll actually have 10-bit. So set your color space to Rec 2020 HDR and set your codec to HEVC or H.265. So that's how you can record 10-bit. Also, you can notice there's a PXY here. All I did was opened up the Blackmagic proxy generator lite, navigate to the folder where you have that project, and quickly create proxy files. This is going to help you enhance how that works. So for example, if I click remove and I click add, this will take me to a folder. Let's say I click this folder. This is already a proxy folder. So I just go to media and say use this. Well, let me just quickly go to another project. Let's say this one. And where I have the B-rolls, I'll just select folder and it's going to calculate the amount of megabytes it requires. And once it's done that, just select H.264 8-bit and click start, and this would create your proxies. So let me just close this. And once you do that and go back to your editing environment, you'll see this whenever you set this. So I like using the proxies because it makes the work a bit faster and easier. But at the same time, if you want to color grade, then set it to prefer camera originals. But before we do that, there's another application that helps convert HEVC or H.265 into a format DaVinci Resolve can easily understand. And that application is Shutter Encoder. So make sure you have Shutter Encoder. Once you're done, I'll just open up Shutter Encoder. So I'll show you the settings I used. So I'll just set for Shutter Encoder like that. And just click on this application. It's a very lightweight application, very powerful for what it does. So we just give it a few seconds to boot up, and once it does, I'll just close this because I don't need the Shutter Encoder window anymore, and then it's here. So the first thing we want to do is to drop our files. So I'll just go to click here, drop files, or we'll just browse to a folder, and it wants to update. I'll just say no, don't update, and I'll just look for a project file. Let's say git media, and let's use this one just as an example. So then I have that. That's my MOB file. What I want to do is to use the start function option. So I'll click on start function, or rather click on this drop down, choose function, and here I'll choose DNxHR. So now that that's here, DNxHR is here. What I want to do is to choose on this arrow here. Let's click on DNxHR and I will choose high quality X. So it's I think it's dynamic something. It's a very long names, but high resolution, high quality X, because X means 10. So we want to use that format. And once you do that, you just click on start over here. So I'll just click on start function. This will convert it to a format DaVinci Resolve can recognize and play. That's how I'm able to play that over here. All right, so I'll just close this. So that's how I'm able to play 10-bit. But if you look at this, this is not the output yet. Because if I turn off the color grade and on, I haven't graded anything. This is the format it's saying, but we need to change this to a standard color where we can apply our grades. So let's go ahead and do that. So here I'll just get rid of the media pool and I'll head over and jump to the color page. So we need to do a few transforms, color space transforms. because, when we imported our 10-bit HDR HEVC footage from our iPhone 12 Pro Max, which is the phone I was using, the image appears very flat and desaturated because this is standard Rec 709 on this timeline. So I'm going to create a manual 3-node setup that will provide the exact math conversion and will give us, a way to set our system back to the final grade. So first thing we want to do is to create 3 nodes. So I'll use Alt S or Option S if you're on Mac. So I'll hit Alt S, S. So these are our 3 nodes. So the first node, let's just label this one here. And what do we call this one? So this is our first. Let's just call that raw. So I'll just go ahead and call that raw. And then our second node, I'll just drag this over here and I'll just close this window. So our second node here, and I'll call this node, I'll just call that CST, because this is where we're doing the conversion here. So the first thing I want to do is to set my input color space. So I'll go over here to effects and I'll search like this, and I'll just do a CST, or I'll just search for color space transform. I'll just drag that over here. Now this is going to open up the settings, and we can now set this. So the first thing is to look at our input gamma. So our color space is Rec 709, so I'll just set the input gamma. So input color space, let's search for Rec 2020. So I'll just go out here and search for Rec 2020. And you can see already just by doing that, it's boosting the colors already. And let's go to input gamma. So let's look for Rec 2100. So I'll just say Rec 2100 HLG. So we'll set that here. And let's look for our output gamma. Our output color space, let's set that to Rec 709 because that's what we want the output to be. And then for our output gamma, let's set it to gamma 2.4, which calculates the color. I think I've passed G. So gamma 2.4. And we can see that we just have that set up here. And for the tone mapping, let's use the luminance mapping. So I'll just go here and say luminance mapping like that. And the gamma mapping, let's just go ahead and select that. So let's set that to saturation compression. All right. So that's going to be it for our first basic node. So our first node is going to be our pre-CST node, which is our raw node. So let's just call that, let's say, pre-CST. That's before we've done our color space transform, and all we want to do here is to adjust our exposure. Now the good way to do that is to look at our scopes. I've set this to waveform. Yours might be on parade, but I've set this to waveform, and if it's not looking grayscale, just go over here and turn on colorize. So yours is going to be like this, but I just like seeing it in grayscale like that. All right, that's cool. So now that we have that, let's zoom in a little bit here. Very funny expression, by the way. So let's set our exposure wheel first. So I'll go to the wheel, and what I like doing is to use this curve here. Now I don't want everything to be crushed at the bottom, and I don't want any bright peaks here. So I'll click here and click around here. Let's drag this slightly down a bit, and then drag this slightly here so we can bring back some of that shadow. Not too detailed like that. And I'll just push this slightly up a bit. I think that's super nice. One way to get our white balance is to go over here and use this tool here and select what is white. So you can notice we have a little bit of white here. So I'll click that and I'll select this, and this will give us a nice little white balance. So it's selecting what is actually white here in the scene. So we can turn this off. That's the before, and this is the after. Just a quick way to do that. So we've added a little exposure, and you can play around with the temperature here in case it's looking too warm. So we can drag this a little bit to the cool side. This is warm, this is cool. I think 133 is not really bad. Also, what I like to do is to add a little bit of detail here to soften the skin. So I'll just drag this and set this to about -50, 54. So yeah, so that's it for the mid detail. So now we have our pre-color space transform. Now we have our color space transform here. We can turn this off by clicking on this number, and you can see what it's doing there. So this is why it's important. If we edited this without doing the CST, it's going to look really weird. So this is how it looks like. And this is it without the color space transform. So what we're going to do now in our third node is to do our post CST. So here, all right, click on this, and I'll just call that post CST, like that. And for this, I'll just add a little bit of contrast boost. And let's do this by moving our pivot point. So I'll just push our pivot point to about 1, like so. And this will help protect the skin area. So let's say 1, like that. So this help protect the brightness of the skin. So for our lift and our gain, which is our shadows and highlight, we've done some of that here, but if we want, we could just dial down a bit. And for that, let's just dial this down a little bit. So it's nothing is peaking and nothing is actually clipping that here. And for the color, let's use color boost here to around, in fact, where I did this here, I'll set the saturation back to, okay, it's back to where it was, like so. So let's go ahead and use color boost for post. So for color boost, I'll set this to around, let's say 5, like so. All right, and truly, if we wanted to add a little bit more effects, I'll just show you how to do that. So we have our post CST right now, and what I can do is to add a little bit more effects here. First, I want to blur, I want to grade this, so I'll hit Alt S, like so, like that, and I'll right click, and I'll call this grade, like so. Oops, my caps came on. I want to just add some subtle grade here. So for the shadows, since I have this purple thing here, I think for the shadows, I'll push this to around this cool area here, around purpley. So just to give it that nice little grade, I don't want it to be too greenish, just a little bit of cool purpley stuff here, like that. I think that's fine, nothing too much. And then for the highlights, I'll just push that towards, let's see, it's like green a bit, and that's our grade. So we can turn this off. And you can see just adding a little bit of cool contrast there. And what I'll do is I think I should push this towards the warm, like that, just a little bit. Yeah, I think that's not bad. So that's my little creative grade there. You can see it's just adding a little bit of boost. And then finally, what I want to do is to shift this back and push this to blur the background. So I hit Alt S. And the way I do that is to go over here to the power window, and I'll right click. I'll just call that blur. And with the power window selected, I'll click on the shape, just use my middle mouse button to zoom out, and I want to blur out just this section where I'm here. And I'll just push this to make this soft. Click this area here to invert, and then I'll go over here where it says blur, and I'll push this slightly up a bit. And what you actually notice here is if I hit P to preview, you can see it's blurring out this edge and this edge, while around this center here is on focus. So I'll just hit escape just to go out of there so you can see how that looks like. Again, if I turn this off, that's the before, and this is the after that little subtle blur. And basically that's it. That's how you can actually, that's how you should probably properly grade. So this is the before. You can see how it's looking really weird because the colors are off. And then this is the after. You can see it's looking slightly colorful, nice, and better. What I really like doing sometimes is if I'm not really moving too much, things like this, I could just add a slight little, glow or, bloom to that. But that's going to be something for another lesson. So hopefully you've seen how you should probably grade and how you can do that. Again, what we can do is to make sure that we are on the proper color space. If I go to our master settings here and go to color margin management, you can see our timeline color space is on Rec 709 and our output is Rec 709. So whatever we're doing in our color channel in between, that is actually doing it properly. So we can see a before and we can see an after comparison. And honestly, I really like the after comparison. We can run this around. Now this is for a single clip. If I go to my tool here and open the clips, you can see this is for the first one. We just applied it to the first clip and not all of them, right? So what we can do is to apply that same, color. So let me just go back here. All right, so sorry guys, it's on this one. So I was actually kind of confused. So we actually applied it to this clip. How do we apply it to the rest of the clips? So it's very straightforward. We can go on this clip, this one, and say we want to apply this grade. So I'll go over here and say apply grade. And now these two clips have the same grade, and you can see this nice little color around them. So again, I want this clip to have the properties, clip number 5, to have the color grade of clip number 4. So I'll click on 5, right click on 4, and say apply grade. Now we can do the same thing. So I'll click on 6 and shift all the way to 15. So I'll go back to 5 and say apply grade. So I'll replace the X16 grades that are there. So 8 all the way down there, they all have this grade. So let's do the same thing for 2 and 1. So hold Control or Shift, right click on 3 and say apply grade. All right, guys. Now this is going to be weird because we have an adjustment clip assigned to this. So it's applying that grade on the adjustment clip, which is not what we want. All right. Thank you very much for watching, guys. I'll see you in the next one. Do have a nice one.